cheese is known to have a poor reputation. The food is very greasy, salty, and indulgent. What if, however, I told you that certain cheeses, when selected with care, could potentially assist in the reconstruction of your muscles after the age of 65? You have it right. There is a possibility that the key to combating sarcopenia is concealed within your refrigerator, discreetly wrapped in wax paper, and in the process of waiting to surprise you. In this video, I will discuss 3 specific cheeses that are abundant in the proteins, lipids, and nutrients that your muscles, which are increasingly aging, require in order to function properly. I'm not talking about your typical snack cheeses here. They are potent, natural muscle regeneration aids that are discreetly gaining popularity among medical professionals and researchers as they recommend them to older citizens over the age of 65. Stay with me until the very end, and I will demonstrate how to take use of them in the most effective manner while minimizing the potential for harm. My name is Dr. Thomas Reed, and after over 3 decades of assisting senior citizens in regaining their strength and mobility, I've discovered something that has taken me by surprise. The appropriate variety of cheese is not only risk-free, it is possible that it is one of the foods that is most efficient in maintaining muscle mass after the age of 65. The quiet muscle loss known as sarcopenia, which affects millions of people, is not an unavoidable thing. For a much longer period of time than you might expect, I will demonstrate how 3 excellent cheeses that are consumed on a daily basis can assist you in being strong, stable, and independent. Now is the time to get a pen and paper ready because you are going to want to make sure that you write this down. Give me a moment to begin with cottage cheese. As for what you might be thinking, I am aware of it. The basic cheese known as cottage cheese may bring to mind the diet plans that were popular in the 1980s, yet this cheese is actually one of the most effective foods for growing muscle that is available to people of advanced age. So what is it about cottage cheese that makes it so unique? When you consume just half a cup of low-fat cottage cheese, you are able to obtain 14 grams of high-quality protein for only 81 calories. As a result, protein accounts for over 70% of the calories that are contained in cottage cheese. Cottage cheese is in a league of its own when compared to ordinary cheddar cheese, which only contains roughly 24% of its calories from protein. This is why cottage cheese is so much more desirable. But the quantity of protein is not the only factor to consider. It is estimated that every half-cup serving of cottage cheese contains more than 1 gram of a substance known as leucine. Leucine can be thought of as the key that unlocks the door to your muscle-building abilities. As we become older, our muscles become more resistant to growth, and in order for them to understand the message, they require a greater quantity of leucine. With each meal, older adults require approximately 3 grams of leucine in order to effectively stimulate muscular growth. When you consume just 1 serving of cottage cheese, you will have achieved around 1/3 of the goal. Cottage cheese is one of my favorite foods to serve to my elderly patients since it is so simple to consume. As people get older, they often report that they have difficulty chewing tough meats or that they have lost their appetite. A lot of people have told me this. Cottage cheese is a type of cheese that is not only soothing to the digestive system, but also soft and creamy. It can be consumed directly from the jar, combined with fruit for breakfast, or even blended into smoothies where it will be so smooth that you won't even be able to detect its presence. The majority of the protein that is found in cottage cheese is a substance known as casein. Indeed, this is of utmost significance for people of advanced age. An example of what we refer to as a slow-release protein is quain, which means that it delivers a consistent supply of amino acids to your muscles over a period of 6 to 8 hours. You can think of it as having a time-release muscle protector working for you throughout the entire day. This is especially helpful in the evening because eating cottage cheese before going to bed can help prevent your body from breaking down muscle while you are sleeping. It is truly astonishing how much research has been done on cottage cheese. According to research conducted with nearly 1,000 older volunteers, individuals who incorporated cottage cheese into their daily routines experienced a considerable increase in their muscle mass over the course of the entire study. The slow-digesting casein protein proved to be very beneficial in preserving muscle mass at times when individuals did not engage in a great deal of physical activity. Let me now provide you with some useful suggestions for incorporating cottage cheese into your morning meal. You may try combining it with a drizzle of honey and some fruit. It is pleasant due to the natural sweetness, and the combination provides you with protein as well as antioxidants. Take cottage cheese and combine it with sliced tomatoes, cucumber, and fresh herbs such as dill or chives if you are more of a savory flavor personality. During lunch, you can use it as a base for dips or spreads that are high in protein quality. At dinner, it is a lovely addition to casseroles, and it may also be used as a lighter alternative to ricotta and pasta dishes. In the event that you are initially experiencing difficulty with the consistency, you might try making a protein smoothie by combining cottage cheese with fruit. To tell you the truth, you won't even be able to taste the cottage cheese, but you'll still reap the benefits of growing muscle. It is also used by some of my patients as a replacement for mayonnaise and chicken or tuna salad to make their meals. If you want the best benefits, you should aim for a half cup to a full cup of coffee every day, and I would recommend having it first thing in the morning. Your muscles are most sensitive to protein first thing in the morning, especially after you have been fasting for the whole night. It is possible that consuming a serving of cottage cheese in the morning will help you grow muscle more effectively throughout the rest of the day. Parmesan cheese, the second culinary powerhouse, is a concentrated source of nourishment. Finally, let's talk about our second winner when it comes to gaining muscle. Moreover, this one can take you by surprise. In Italian, it is referred to as Parmigiano Reggiano, which is another name for Parmesan cheese. When you think about Parmesan, you might think of it as something that is simply sprinkled on pasta. However, this aged cheese is actually one of the meals that is the most nutrient-dense and can be found in the market for muscle growth. The following is what makes Parmesan so truly extraordinary. Over 10 grams of complete protein may be found in only 1 ounce, which is roughly equivalent to the size of your thumb. On account of this, it is among the cheeses that contain the highest concentrations of protein. Not only is this exceptional concentration beneficial for older folks, but it is also beneficial for those who consume fewer portions than they used to. On the other hand, this is where Parmesan becomes quite intriguing. At least 24 months are required for authentic Parmesan to go through the maturing process, during which time something remarkable takes place. Natural enzymes found in cheese are responsible for breaking down the proteins into smaller bits that are easier to digest. It's almost as if the cheese has already been digested for you, which significantly reduces the amount of strain placed on your stomach and digestive system. Because our digestive systems stop functioning as effectively as they once did as we get older, this is something that is of utmost significance for people who are in their later years. After consuming foods that are high in protein, many of my patients report that they have feelings of bloating or discomfort. Parmesan, on the other hand, is exceptionally mild and simple to digest as a result of the special aging process that it undergoes. In point of fact, true Parmesan cheese that has been aged for 2 years contains hardly little lactose at all. This implies that even individuals who are lactose intolerant are typically able to consume it without any issues. However, Parmesan is not only about the protein it contains. In addition, this cheese is an excellent source of calcium. Calcium is included in 331 milligrams per ounce, which is approximately 25% of the daily calcium requirement. You could be thinking that calcium is necessary for bones, but is that correct? However, calcium is also necessary for the muscles in your body. In order for calcium to function effectively, each and every muscle contraction is necessary. No matter how much protein you consume, your muscles will not be able to perform at their optimal level if they do not receive an adequate amount of calcium. Calcium and muscle loss in older persons have been the subject of recent research, which has shown some surprising findings. The danger of a person losing muscle mass as they age is greatly increased for those who do not consume an adequate amount of calcium on a daily basis. Consuming Parmesan not only provides you with the protein that is necessary for the development of muscle, but it also provides you with the calcium that your muscles require in order to contract in the correct manner. I am aware of the way that some of you might be thinking right now. The price of genuine Parmigiano can be quite high. It's important to note that Parmesan is a cheese. It is not necessary to consume a great deal of it because it contains a high concentration of nutrients. If you want to make a major difference in the health of your muscles, you just need to consume 1 to 2 ounces every day. When you grate it fresh, that amounts to only approximately 2 teaspoons instead. Also, with regard to the freshness of the grating, this is of utmost significance. There is no way that the pre-grated containers that are sold in stores can be compared to the actual item. When you grate fresh Parmesan, you not only get a greater flavor, but you also receive superior nutrients. Additionally, you will find that you satisfy your cravings with a smaller amount of the cheese because the flavor is so much more robust. Allow me to present you with a few simple methods to include Parmesan into your daily routine. Try grating it over scrambled eggs for morning. It will be delicious. To get your day off to a strong start, this combo provides you with more than 20 grams of protein. It is recommended to sprinkle it liberally over salads and soups during lunch. The flavor is so flavorful and deep that it elevates the flavor of everything. Take use of it for dinner by applying it to veggies or by making a straightforward protein-rich gratin with broccoli or cauliflower. A snack consisting of little slices of Parmesan cheese can also be had, perhaps in conjunction with some almonds or fruit. This dish is extremely satiating due to the presence of protein, calcium, and a flavorful blend of ingredients. Be on the lookout for wheels that are identified as Parmigiano and have those recognizable dots around the rind. The higher nutrition and flavor of original Parmesan means that you will be pleased with smaller amounts, which will make it rather affordable in the long term. Since this is the case, it is worth making the investment in authentic Parmesan. This is the third secret weapon, ricotta cheese, which is a muscle builder that builds muscle quickly. The ricotta cheese is our third cheese that helps develop muscle. In addition, this particular cheese is distinguished from all others in the world by a very unusual secret. The liquid that is left behind after the production of other cheeses is called whey, and it is used to make ricotta. This may appear to be nothing more than a byproduct, but in reality, it confers upon ricotta some remarkable qualities that are beneficial to the development of muscle. Allow me to explain why this is of such great importance. You are mostly consuming quin protein, which is digested slowly over the course of several hours when you consume the majority of cheeses. Ricotta, on the other hand, can be found to have a considerable quantity of whey protein, which is the type of protein that is absorbed the quickest when consumed. In as little as 30 to 60 minutes after consumption, your body is able to absorb and begin utilizing whey protein. This speed is actually very important for older folks who are trying to build muscle. Try to think about it in this way. In the event that you have recently completed a stroll around the neighborhood or engaged in some light gardening, your muscles are prepared and waiting to receive nutrients. When you consume ricotta, the proteins that are broken down quickly are sent to your muscles in a timely manner, precisely when they are able to make the most of them. A serving of ricotta made with whole milk contains 14 grams of protein, which is comparable to the amount of protein found in cottage cheese, but has a distinct amino acid composition. Branched-chain amino acids are a type of amino acid that are found in particularly high concentrations in ricotta. These particular amino acids have the extraordinary capacity to travel straight to the muscle tissue of your body, completely avoiding the liver in the process. They immediately begin working on repairing and growing their muscles. Due to the fact that it has a texture that is exceptionally smooth and creamy, ricotta is particularly beneficial for people who are older. Compared to other types of protein, ricotta is considerably simpler for many of my patients to consume, particularly those who have dental problems or who have trouble swallowing. It has a naturally mild flavor, which means that it does not overpower other foods, and it fits wonderfully into both sweet and savory dishes. The salt content of ricotta is naturally lower than that of the majority of cheeses. Compared to the over 400 milligrams of sodium that is found in many other cheeses, it only has about 100 milligrams of sodium per half cup. Due to the fact that many elderly people have to control their sodium consumption for the sake of their heart health and blood pressure, this is an important point. Particularly impressive is the research that has been done on ricotta. In a study, participants who consumed approximately 3/4 of a cup of ricotta on a daily basis did not only increase their muscle mass. In addition to this, they increased their general physical performance as well as their balance test results. After only 90 days, the males who participated in the study shown particularly remarkable gains in their physical strength. On the other hand, there is yet another advantage of ricotta that is frequently disregarded. A number of studies have demonstrated that the whey protein included in ricotta can assist in lowering blood pressure and improving cardiovascular health. You are not only enhancing your muscular mass, but you are also contributing to the health of your heart at the same time. This twofold benefit is quite useful for people who are in their latter years. The versatility of ricotta in the kitchen is truly breathtaking. In contrast to cottage cheese, which has a very distinct texture, ricotta is smooth and creamy, and it has a mild flavor that may be used in a wide variety of applications. If you want to make a delicious breakfast, try spreading ricotta that has been mixed with a little honey and cinnamon on toast made with nutritious grains. One could say that it is similar to having a protein-rich version of cream cheese. After lunch, ricotta is a fantastic choice for serving as a base for dips. Prepare it by combining it with herbs and using it with veggies. You can also use it as a substitute for mayonnaise in sandwiches. When it comes to dinner, ricotta can be stuffed into vegetables such as bell peppers or zucchini, stacked in casseroles, or incorporated into pasta sauces to make them creamy and high in protein. Even desserts can benefit from the usage of ricotta. You may make a nutritious chocolate mousse by combining it with a little cocoa powder and honey, or you can blend it with fruits to make a smoothie that is filled with protein. A number of my patients bake with ricotta, substituting it for a portion of the wheat in their pancakes or muffins in order to increase the amount of protein they contain. If you want to get the most protein and feel full, choose ricotta made from whole milk when you go to the store to buy it. There are fewer calories in the part formulations, but it is possible that they do not deliver the same benefits for growing muscle either. You should look for brands that have only a few components, such as liquid milk, vinegar, or citric acid, and salt. After engaging in any kind of physical exercise, even something as basic as gardening or going for a stroll, the optimal time to consume ricotta is within 2 hours of making the activity. Ricotta, which contains whey protein that is easily absorbed, is able to give amino acids to your muscles in a timely manner, which is especially important during the period of time when your muscles are most prepared to repair and grow. Let's talk about the optimum times to consume cheeses now that you are aware of which cheeses to consume. Simply because the timing of your actions can have a significant impact on how well they perform for you. According to the findings of current research, this is where some surprising insights have been discovered, which contradict the beliefs that many people have about eating. For a number of years, we have been instructed that supper ought to be the most substantial meal of the day. On the other hand, if you are over the age of 65 and want to grow muscle, breakfast is actually the most crucial opportunity you have. Here is why this is such a significant topic. Because you have been sleeping through the night, your body has been in a state of fasting for 8 to 10 hours. During this time, your body has been breaking down muscle tissue to supply energy for important functions. You have the opportunity to move from a state of muscle breakdown to one of muscle development when you have your first meal of the day. According to research, older persons who consume a breakfast consisting of 25 to 30 grams of protein have significantly higher levels of muscle protein synthesis throughout the entire day. This is in contrast to those who consume a conventional meal consisting of toast and coffee, which is low in protein. The majority of persons over the age of 65 consume only about 8 grams of protein during breakfast. Such a quantity is not even close to being sufficient to initiate the process of muscle growth. All three of our cheeses are transformed into really potent instruments at this point. You can get 24 grams of high-quality protein and more than 2 grams of leucine from a meal that consists of a half cup of cottage cheese combined with berries and topped with an ounce of freshly grated Parmesan cheese. In that amount of time, your body will be able to switch from breaking down muscle to growing out muscle. On the other hand, timing is not only about breakfast. Additionally, it is important to consider how you distribute protein throughout the day. A significant number of elderly people exhibit what I refer to as the light, heavy pattern. They try to make up for the lack of protein in their diet by eating a substantial piece of meat at dinner, but they consume relatively little protein at breakfast and lunch. This strategy, unfortunately, does not work very well for muscles that are getting older. For the purpose of constructing new muscle tissue, your muscles are only able to use approximately 25 to 35 grams of protein at a time. Your body is unable to store the additional protein that you consume at supper, even if you consume 60 grams of it. If you try to water a plant by pouring an entire bucket of water over it once a day, rather than giving it smaller amounts of water throughout the day, you will be doing it incorrectly. Consuming between 25 and 30 grams of protein at each of your primary meals is the optimal strategy for preventing the loss of muscle mass. This might take the form of a breakfast consisting of cottage cheese mixed with fruit, a lunch consisting of a sandwich with ricotta and veggies, and your typical dinner consisting of freshly grated Parmesan cheese for final presentation. There is one more sneaky timing technique that can significantly improve your outcomes. You should make an effort to consume one of these cheeses within 2 hours after engaging in any type of physical exercise, even if it is something as simple as a 15-minute walk around the neighborhood or some moderate gardening chores. It has been demonstrated through research that the combination of physical activity and protein results in a significantly more potent reaction to the production of muscle than either of these two factors alone. It is not necessary for you to engage in strenuous physical activity. For your muscles, even low-impact activities such as walking, stretching, or performing chores around the house are considered to be effective forms of physical activity. It is essential to consume protein while your muscles are still in a state of responsiveness after you have engaged in physical activity. One of the most frequently asked inquiries that I receive from patients is regarding the quantity of cheese that they ought to consume on a daily basis. I am going to provide you with specific suggestions that are based on what the study has shown to be the most effective. To begin, let's determine the total amount of protein that you require. According to the most recent recommendations, persons over the age of 65 should consume between 1 and 1.2 grams of protein for every kilogram that they weigh. To determine your weight in kilograms, take your weight in pounds and divide it by 2.2. This will give you your weight in kilograms. After that, multiply that given number by 1.2. A person who weighs 150 pounds, for instance, is approximately 68 kilograms. To calculate the amount of protein you require on a daily basis, multiply 68 by 1.2. To be clear, cheese is not going to be the exclusive source of all of this information. That is not what we mean by balanced nutrition. Cheese, on the other hand, can supply a sizable dose of protein, particularly during meals in which other sources of protein could be scarce. When it comes to cheese consumption on a daily basis, the following is what I recommend based on the research studies that demonstrated the best effects. Our muscle-building cheeses should be consumed on a daily basis in quantities of 2 to 3 servings, with each serving containing 10 to 15 grams of protein. In terms of portion sizes, this may be equivalent to a half cup of cottage cheese for breakfast, an ounce of Parmesan cheese for lunch, and a third of a cup of ricotta for dinner. This combination provides you with approximately 35 to 40 grams of protein from cheese, which is approximately half of the amount of protein that you require on a daily basis. Now, I am aware that some of you might be concerned about the fact that it contains a lot of calories and fat. The fact that cheese does contain fat is a fact. Nonetheless, it is important to keep in mind that we are discussing precise portions and not endless amounts. As part of a diet that is balanced, the total number of calories that would be consumed from these cheese meals would be approximately 300 to 400 calories per day, which is a very appropriate amount. It is the constancy that is the most crucial factor. Cheese consumption on a daily basis for a period of at least 60 to 90 days was required of participants in the research that produced the most striking findings. If you want to see major muscular growth, you can't expect to consume cheese sometimes, like once or twice a week. Consider it to be similar to taking a vitamin every day. It ought to be incorporated into your routine on a consistent basis. When I am working with my patients, I always tell them to consider cheese as an investment in their individuality in the future. The modest quantity of additional calories that you are consuming at now moment could be the difference between being able to climb stairs with ease at the age of 80 and having difficulty with even the most fundamental of everyday activities. An impact that scientists refer to as a synergistic effect is created when cheese is combined with the appropriate form of exercise. This is despite the fact that the research clearly demonstrates that cheese alone can assist combat muscle loss. The outcomes are superior to those that would be obtained solely from the consumption of cheese or through physical activity. Resistance training is the sort of exercise that is generally considered to be the most effective for growing muscle. I want to put your mind at ease before you start thinking about the intricate gym equipment and the huge weights that you will be dealing with. Making use of elastic resistance bands, performing push-ups against a wall, or just getting up and down from a chair are all examples of simple resistance training exercises that may be performed by older persons. As a result of the investigation, the following is what we know about this potent combo. Your muscles will react considerably more powerfully to one of our muscle-building cheeses if you perform resistance workouts and then consume it within 2 hours of the workout. This is in comparison to the reaction they would have to the cheese on its own. In point of fact, this combination has the ability to restore what experts refer to as a youthful muscle-building response even in those who are above the age of 80. One of the most appealing aspects of this strategy is that it does not require you to engage in physical activity on a daily basis. It has been demonstrated through research that resistance exercise only has to be performed 2 to 3 times per week in order to maintain and develop muscle, provided that adequate protein is also consumed. In order to maintain a consistent supply of nutrients for your muscles, you can continue to consume your cheese meals even on the days that you do not engage in any type of physical activity. Resistance training can be provided by even the most mundane of activities. Performing activities such as gardening, lugging groceries, climbing stairs, and even hard housework are all examples of activities that offer the kind of muscular stimulus that works well with protein consumption. Maintaining an active lifestyle and providing your muscles with the appropriate nourishment is the key to success. Despite the fact that cheese can be an effective tool for gaining muscle, there are a few essential things that we need to talk about, particularly if you have specific health disorders or worries. Now let's begin with lactose intolerance, which is a condition that is more prevalent as we get older. One piece of encouraging information is that the cheeses that we have been talking about are often considerably more well tolerated than ordinary milk. There is almost little lactose in aged Parmesan because of the lengthy maturing process that it goes through. The amount of lactose found in cottage cheese and ricotta is far lower than that found in milk. To determine whether or not you are lactose intolerant, begin with a small amount and observe how you react. In addition, you could consider taking lactase enzyme supplements before to feeding your cheese consumption. It is important to pay attention to the sodium content of the food you consume if you have high blood pressure. Due to the fact that it is aged, Parmesan naturally has a larger amount of sodium. There is a significant amount of variation across the brands of cottage cheese. A half cup of some kinds contains more than 400 milligrams of sodium, while a half cup of low sodium variations contains less than 100 milligrams. There is a naturally lower salt content in ricotta. When you go shopping, search for options that are low in sodium whenever they are available. Also, make sure that you consume a healthy amount of fresh fruits and vegetables in addition to cheese. Those of you who are keeping an eye on your cholesterol readings, I have some encouraging news to share with you. Recent studies that were conducted on a broad scale and involved thousands of participants demonstrated that the consumption of cheese as part of a balanced diet does not significantly increase the risk of heart disease in the majority of individuals. Controlling portion sizes and selecting the appropriate kinds are essential. We recommend that you stick to the serving proportions that we have discussed, and if you are particularly worried, you should think about using lower fat options such as part-skim ricotta or low-fat cottage cheese. In the event that you are using medications that thin the blood, such as warfarin, it is essential to ensure that you continuously consume cheese on a daily basis. Vitamin K, which is found in cheese, has the potential to hinder the effectiveness of these medications if your consumption of it varies significantly. It is not the solution to avoid cheese. Rather, it is to consume cheese on a regular basis and to inform your physician that you are incorporating cheese into your diet on a daily basis. The consumption of a significant amount of protein can be troublesome for individuals who have kidney disease or kidney function that is decreased. Before making a large increase in the amount of protein you consume through cheese or any other source, it is imperative that you consult with your physician if you have any renal problems. Let us now put all of this information together into a plan that is both practical and that you can begin putting into action right away. I'm going to take you step by step through the process of incorporating these 3 potent cheeses into your daily routine so that you may reap the greatest possible benefits from increased muscle growth. You should begin by changing your breakfast into a meal that will help you grow muscle. Cottage cheese should be had within the first hour of waking up, ranging from a half cup to a full cup. It is possible to combine it with fresh berries in order to obtain antioxidants and a natural sweetness. You may also combine it with chopped tomatoes and fresh herbs if you want flavors that are more savory. Ricotta spread on whole grain bread with a drizzle of honey and a sprinkling of cinnamon is a delicious alternative to cottage cheese if you find that it does not appeal to you after a while. In order to get your muscle building process off to a good start for the day, you should aim to consume between 25 and 30 grams of protein at breakfast. You should come up with inventive methods to include Parmesan into whatever you are having for lunch. Spread a large ounce of grated cheese on top of any sandwich, soup, or salad. In addition to enhancing the flavor of other dishes, the rich, savory flavor also makes meals more full. If you are having a lunch that is lighter, you might want to think about using ricotta as a base for a spread or dip with veggies. Keep in mind that in order to keep your muscle support consistent, you will need an additional 25 to 30 grams of protein at this meal. Utilize cheese in a smart manner at supper to increase the amount of protein that is contained in your evening meal. When you are eating pasta, include ricotta into the sauce to add a creamy texture and a source of protein. When you are eating vegetables, sprinkle a substantial amount of freshly grated Parmesan cheese on top of them. Consider using only a little amount of cheese or reserving it for an evening snack if the main dish you are preparing already has a significant amount of protein from sources such as meat or fish. In addition, make sure that certain cheeses that help develop muscle are easily accessible for snacking. Cottage cheese, ricotta, or bits of Parmesan cheese can be packaged in small containers and used to give a rapid source of nourishment after engaging in physical activity or in the intervals between meals when you require an energy boost. Imagine that you spend 10 minutes performing some basic exercises such as standing up and sitting down in a chair 10 times, performing 10 push-ups against the wall, and lifting your arms up and down with little weights or even water bottles. These are all examples of simple workouts. It is possible that this soft routine may take you a total of 10 minutes. Your muscles will be able to make far better use of the protein that you consume if you follow this activity with a snack of cottage cheese or a supper that includes Parmesan or ricotta. This is in contrast to the situation in which you would have had the cheese while sitting around doing nothing for the entire day. It is as if the exercise stimulates your muscles, making them more sensitive to the nutrients that you are supplying to them. It is my recommendation that you keep a straightforward journal for the first few weeks. Make a note of the cheeses you consumed, the amount you consumed, and the time you consumed them. Following a period of 2 weeks, you should begin to pay attention to any changes that may occur in your levels of energy, how you feel when engaging in daily tasks, or your general sense of strength. At the end of the 30-day period, you might find that activities such as carrying groceries or getting up from chairs feel a little bit less difficult. It is expected that you will see considerable increases in muscular strength and overall physical function after a period of 90 days duration. Just as we are coming to the close of our time together, I would like to provide you with a list of clear and specific actions that you can use right now to get started on your journey of growing muscle with cheese. First, you should go to your local grocery store and purchase all 3 of the cheeses that we have been talking about. Ricotta cheese, cottage cheese, and true Parmesan cheese should be obtained. You should get enough to last at least a week so that you may try out a variety of different methods to consume them and determine which one you prefer the most. My second piece of advice is to use the straightforward calculation that I provided you with to determine how much protein you require on a daily basis. In order to serve as a daily reminder of your objective, jot down this number and post it in a location where you will see it every day, such as at the top of your refrigerator. Third, make a plan for your meals for the following day, making sure that each meal has between 25 and 30 grams of protein and incorporates at least one of our 3 cheeses that are designed to build muscle. The fourth piece of advice is to begin with just 5 minutes of simple movements if you are not already engaging in some type of physical activity currently. Performing push-ups against the wall, standing up and sitting down from a chair, lifting light weights or water bottles, or any combination of these activities could be considered this. During this week, you should only plan to do this 2 or 3 times. There is nothing overpowering. 5. Make a note on your calendar for the next 90 days from today. At that point, you ought to pause for a while and evaluate how you are feeling, how strong you have grown, and what changes you have observed in your day-to-day life. A great number of individuals are actually shocked by the drastic change that they observe in just 3 months. Always keep in mind that the loss of muscle mass is not an unavoidable consequence of aging. If you include these 3 cheeses in your daily diet and combine them with the tactics that I have discussed with you today, you will be able to keep your muscle mass and even rebuild it long into your 70s, 80s, and beyond. The scientific evidence is unambiguous. The method is straightforward, and the possibility of a positive transformation is very much present. However, knowledge alone will not be of any assistance to you. It is now up to you to decide whether or not you will take that initial move. It is your intention to purchase cottage cheese and consume it for breakfast the next morning. On top of your lunch, are you going to grate some fresh Parmesan? Would you be willing to commit to eating cheese on a regular basis for a period of 90 days in order to discover what your body is capable of? I have faith that you will, since I am of the opinion that everyone has the right to grow older with self-assurance, strength, and independence. You may find that these 3 straightforward cheeses are your allies on your voyage. Be intelligent use of them. Be sure to utilize them on a regular basis. And get ready to be shocked by how your body reacts to them. Your muscular tissue is prepared and waiting for the nutrients that it requires in order to repair itself and become more robust. You have everything you need to be successful if you have cottage cheese, Parmesan, and ricotta on your side. When it comes to beginning to grow muscle, it is never too late. And at this point, you are fully aware of how to carry out the task. I am grateful that you have chosen to spend this time with me today. Cheers to your physical well-being, your resilience, and the many more years of self-sufficiency and energy that lie ahead of you. Put on some cheese and go eat it. Thanks to you, your future self will be grateful.